Senator Chuck Grassley's come out. He's supposed to be one of the moderate Republicans. Everybody laugh along with me. And back the idea that, in fact, the Obama health care program might pull the plug on grandma. Let me read you a quote from Senator Grassley from Iowa. There's some fear because in the House bill, there's counseling for end of life. And from that standpoint, you have every right to fear. Of course, because the Republicans love pushing fear. Every right to fear. You shouldn't have counseling at the end of life. No, of course, you should be an idiot. And you should make decisions. First of all, you shouldn't plan ahead. But if you do, you certainly should not be counseled by a medical doctor as to what choices you'd like to make. No, you shouldn't have counseling. I agree with you, Grassley. He says you ought to have counseling 20 years before you're going to die. You ought to plan these things out. All right, so that's fair enough. At least he's saying that. And I don't have any problem with things like living wills. Okay, great. And what's your problem? He continues, but they ought to be done within the family. We should not have a government program that determines if you're going to pull the plug on grandma. Well, there at the end, it became completely unjustifiable. You could have said before, hey, look, he's saying a little this and a little that. He's not against living wills. And at the end, he just makes up that there's a government program that's going to pull the plug on grandma. Not even within miles of true. Yesterday, we told you about an Associated Press story where they said, all right, we're going to fact check this just in case. People have read the bill over and over again, and the Associated Press explained there is absolutely, positively no such thing in the bill. All it says is, if you're going to write a living will, you can consult a doctor about it so you know what your choices are. Oh my God, I can't believe it. It's a death panel. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, part of the people, let me give you some of the people that supported it in the House and the Senate. Well, they would be Republican Charles Bustani of Louisiana and Republican Patrick Tiberi of Ohio in the House. They put together a provision that was very similar to the one that's in the House bill that everybody's referring to. They were on board before they realized that the rest of their party was going to fearmonger about death panels, and they didn't see that coming. Neither did the Republicans in the Senate who had backed it, including Susan Collins of Maine, Richard Lugar of Indiana, and John Isakson of Georgia. When Isakson was asked about it, he said, what are you guys talking about with death panels? This is the most normal thing in the whole wide world. You go and consult with your doctor as to what you should do for the decisions you're going to make. There's no government official. It's a doctor, and it's not forced at all. And if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Okay, we're just trying to help a brother out. Now, the Republicans were completely on board for this until they decided, hey, you know what, we could fearmonger on this and try to defeat this piece of legislation with goddamn lies. And that's what Chuck Grassley's pushing. That's what Sarah Palin is pushing. Newt Gingrich, John Boehner, they've all said these, points about euthanasia and pulling the plug on grandma and the death panels that they know for a fact are lies. See, when I see stories like this, that's when I give up on the Republican Party. You're not having a legitimate debate. I have friends of mine saying, I was emailing back and forth with some guys today, and they say, hey, you know what, you should, I think the Republicans might have some good ideas. You should listen to them. That's a good one. Republicans with good ideas on healthcare reform. As if they legitimately want healthcare reform. And they came up with some ideas. Hey, you guys want to consider them? No, every single idea is a time bomb meant to explode to destroy reform. Look, these guys are not on the level. A lot of the country has caught on to this, but some have not. You think Chuck Grassley really thinks that Obama's going to pull the plug on grandma? Of course he doesn't think that. He's a smart guy. He's smart enough to have put in billions of dollars into health care bills. We did a long story on one during the Bush administration for, guess who won on that? The health care industry. In the middle of the night when he was the head of that committee, he snuck in, I think it was $22 billion extra for the healthcare industry. When everybody woke up, they're like, what the hell? How did that get in the bill? He's like, well, I just put it in there. Now you got to vote for it. Ha, 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 too bad. Okay, he's one of the worst at that. From time to time, Grassley will say something that is actually moderate or sounds reasonable, and you'll get confused for a second, like, wait, can I trust that guy? Because here's the thing, even if you don't agree with them, if people are making points that are on the level, that they say, all right, look, here's what we think about healthcare reform, and we believe in the private business taking care of this, la, 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 then we can have a debate. And that's the way the country should work. But these guys are not on the level. They don't give a damn. They want to destroy the healthcare reform. They don't want it at all. They want the industries and the corporations to win and make more profit so they could funnel it back to them. They want to destroy Obama's presidency on a political level. And so they'll make up any damn lies they want to further that cause. Don't make the mistake of thinking that this present-day Republican Party actually means a word of what they say. No, they'll say anything to deceive you, to get you to stop any kind of reform, change, or something that might help the American people and hurt their corporate friends just even a little bit.